Okay.
All right.
All right.
Good. All right.
Great.
Great.
Fantastic.
Super.
Good.
Okay.
Great.
Yep.
Yep. How do we start this podcast?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I've always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you.
I'm Andrew,
And I'm Steven.
and let's talk about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
It's another beautiful day in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
It is.
And we're back with another episode of Please Won't You Be My Podcast.
We are. What episode are we talking about today?
We're talking about episode 3, which is episode 3 of volume 1 on Amazon's Best Of. I said that it was the same as the iTunes volume, but actually
Is it not?
it's totally not.
Oh,
iTunes
great.
has its own separate list of episodes. So
That's complicated. But this is easy because it's just episode 3 flat out
it is. It's the third episode available.
all time. Yeah, so kind of not the most outrageous episode.
No, it was pretty mellow. We're sort of in the quiet third act of the
Yeah.
King Friday.
King Friday's
Military.
War on Change,
Yeah.
his military campaign. Yeah. But where do we start? We start with Mr. Rogers gets a package.
Yeah, we start off with a traditional unboxing episode.
Yeah, he gets a lot of mail, it turns out. I mean, we should have seen that coming.
I mean, the
Primary character in the show is a mailman.
Speedy delivery.
Yeah.
It's
from-
covered
it's-
in
From Chef Brockett,
yes, Chef Brockett, who we meet in this
who
episode.
we meet in this episode, and he's a character. And Mr. Rogers is really thoroughly wrapped, and he flips it around a lot for what is a cake-shaped box that he got from a chef.
That's true, and he even says later that he was hoping that he'd get to eat something out of the box. So you'd think if
Yeah.
he knew it was a cake box, he wouldn't be flipping it upside down.
Yeah, especially, well, and also when he does finally open it, he finds that it contains literally nothing except for a note.
Yeah, you might start to wonder if maybe as he was flipping it upside down, he knew that there was nothing cake weighted
Yeah.
in
This
there.
is an incredibly light box. The box is the heaviest part of it.
It's true. So he opens it up, and there's just a note that says that Chef Brockett will be by.
To fill it up with something.
Yeah, and then
Which is also a tease because the something ends up not being for Mr. Rogers.
yeah,
So I don't know what Mr. Rogers' whole role in this adventure is. I think maybe does Chef Brockett not have his own kitchen?
that's potentially true.
Yeah.
I know he's a recurring character who currently uses Mr. Rogers'
Yeah.
kitchen.
Maybe he's just there for Mr. Rogers' incredibly fast stove,
Maybe.
which cooks a cake as fast as Mr. Rogers can count to 10.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was a sleight of hand that he used to like swap out the unbaked cake with the baked cake in 5 seconds, or if he's actually magical. It's hard to know where the magic stops at the borders of make-believe to
Yeah.
real world.
Yeah. So anyways, Chef Brockett comes over.
Well, he doesn't come over
All right, he
quite
doesn't
as
come over
early
quite yet.
as he
Oh,
intends
that's right.
to.
I skipped over.
Mr. McFeely of Speedy Delivery stops by before Chef Brockett to inform Mr. Rogers that he would be 28 late. He said that he would be there at 12, but he's going to be 28 after that. And so all Mr. Rogers has to do is count to 8 and 9/10, and he would be there.
Right. This is when I got the impression that Chef Brockett is a very whimsical character.
Well,
He's all about riddles and notes, and
we know from an earlier episode that Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood doesn't have units. Everything is measured in the same
everything is just
non-unit
flat
unit.
numbers.
So money is
Yeah.
just a 2 and a...
And the speedy delivery this time was 3.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, no, the prices are going up. It was 1 and then 2 and now
Well, I
it's
mean,
3.
when you're coming back and forth from the land of make-believe now, there's all those...
I guess, yeah,
Tariff.
the surcharges and stuff. But we skipped over it. Mr. Rogers check. He's curious as to what Chef Brockett is going to put in the box, and so he asks picture.
Oh yeah,
and we discover why it's called picture. Because he says picture on the wall. What's Chef Brockett going to put in here?
Well, it's called picture because he says that rhyme, but he also, in the ongoing Twitch marathon that's currently happening, I happened to catch an episode, and he actually says, "Do you want to know why I call it picture?"
Because there's a picture inside a picture.
He says because there's a picture. And
it's
a picture
it's that too. I knew that, but this explains why it is a picture inside of a picture.
Yeah, so
that's a very weird thing to do if there's not some sort of like the rhyme which they've lifted from Snow White, I guess, is the most reasonable origin for that bit of world building that I've seen.
Yeah, we haven't really had picture.
No, so and far. This is really picture 1.0.
Yeah,
it's just
there's no full motion video here. He's definitely
it's just still slides of cake ingredients.
But
which mysteriously Mr. Rogers does not immediately identify as cake ingredients.
More mysterious, though, I would say, is how picture knows what Chef Brockett is going to put in the box. Is picture omniscient?
I assume, I gather. I mean, it can see inside a factory.
I guess it's the same sort of deal as mirror on the wall.
Yeah.
Except picture uses slides.
Yeah, exactly.
Hazy imaginings.
So yeah, I mean, maybe at some point he presumably upgrades to the one that has live full motion color video inside of factories.
Does he upgrade picture, or does picture get replaced with a new picture?
I mean, the word upgrade can mean both of those things.
I suppose so.
So Chef Brockett shows up, and we learn one of his weird rules, which is that there is no talking in the kitchen.
No, he...
It's never discussed as to why.
Yeah, he keeps shushing Mr. Rogers every time Mr. Rogers
says anything in the kitchen.
As he bakes a cake in front of him?
As he bakes it, using ingredients that he pulled out of Mr. Rogers' cupboard.
Which would
pre-measured.
Which would suggest that he doesn't have his own kitchen, and that he's just a poor chef.
Yeah, well, and also he's getting Mr. Rogers' help with the cake, but refuses to talk, so he has to mime out everything.
Right.
I wrote down here that he's got kind of a Lou Costello vibe.
Oh, and earlier in the episode, I forgot to mention, but in addition to an unboxing, we also have a watch Mr. Rogers down a glass of milk.
Oh, that's true. Oh, my goodness. And he says, oh, my great-grandmother used to say you should take an hour to drink a glass of milk.
And then he's all rebellious when he's like, I'm drinking this thing too fast, boys.
He really rubs it at his grandmother's face.
You're not around now.
He pauses halfway to say, oh, Mr. Rogers is drinking his milk too fast. He's like, deal with it, Grandma. He also sings a song that I found had some unsettling overtones.
What do you mean? He's saying a song about wanting to be just like his mom and wanting to be just like his dad.
Just like your mother and just like your father. But the second verse, or the second bit of each of those sections had, because it's, espousing all of the qualities that mothers have. It's like, oh, she cooks and all this stuff. And then second verse is all like, and dad really likes her. She's beautiful and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
But then he does the second verse. And he says, Mom really likes him because he's beautiful and stuff. So
no, it's not that. It's just, but this is a song about wanting to be like your parents.
Oh.
That is a weird reason. There are some Oedipal overtones, undertones.
Maybe so.
To the whole thing. He does say later, he's talking about, well, I bet a lot of you boys will be like your dads, and I bet a lot of you girls will be like your moms. And, some moms work. And I'm like, yeah, you go, Mr. Rogers. That's some relatively.
I don't know how progressive that was
I think for the 60s it was. I mean, based on the Tumblr screen caps of Mad Men, that was still a relatively cutting edge idea.
You're a big fan of those Tumblr screen caps.
Yeah, animated GIFs. Guy gets run over with a lawnmower.
Nobody watches actual television anymore.
No,
it's all about the
screen caps and the GIFs. What show has your favorite closed captioning font?
Mr. Rogers.
You don't see a lot of Mr. Rogers GIFs.
No,
he's not very memeable.
Make a change.
Yeah. Change the podcast or change the world?
Change the world.
Oh, I thought you were just going to say we should make a Lazy Town podcast.
What?
Just that's a very tumbleable show.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see what you're saying. So Chef Brockett makes a cake. Silently in Mr. Rogers' presence.
And not a great
cake.
Like, the cake seems alright, but he ices it real slapdash.
Well, he makes kind of a terrible cake, and then he puts it in the oven and tells Mr. Rogers to count as fast as he can.
Yeah.
And after about 5 counts, he takes out the cake and it's fully complete.
Yeah.
It looks nice when he takes it out. When he puts it in, it doesn't look so great. And when he ices it, it looks pretty bad.
Yeah, and then in trying to transfer the cake to the box, at first it seemed like he was just going to pick up the cake barehanded, but he abandons that and ends up picking up the whole plate.
Yeah, in my notes here I wrote down garbage cake. Because he puts like 1 spoonful of icing on and then smears it around. And then he puts sprinkles, or sparkles, as Mr. Rogers called them.
I mean, they're very sparkly sprinkles.
That's true.
They're not like what what do they call them in England?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
So he puts these sparkles,
Yeah, they're real small ones
on the top of the cake, and then he, for some reason, takes the spoon and like smears some of the sprinkles upside down.
Smushes it over. I mean,
underneath the icing.
We are told that it says 13 on it.
Well, later it's a very nice looking cake.
Yeah, later it's a different cake with the sides iced and everything.
And it has a 13 on it. I didn't see a 13.
But I think he was, it looked like he might have been like carving out the negative space in an XIII.
Oh, maybe.
So then Chef Brockett heads out. He's got his umbrella. That doesn't come up, but he's got his umbrella with him in case it rains.
Mm-hmm.
And heads off to the land of make-believe.
But then Mr. Rogers realizes that
after he's left,
he realizes he's forgotten to tell Chef Brockett that about the civil unrest happening in the
that it's a Cold War zone.
Turns
out to not be an issue. Chef Brockett takes to it immediately.
Yeah, he knows before anyone talks to him that he needs to give his name, rank, and serial number.
Considerably less perturbed than Cornflake, especially at the factory.
But we have to go to the land of make believe first.
Right? Yes, I forgot. We have the transition.
We do have the transition.
So we board the trolley.
Oh,
Does something happen with the trolley that we want to talk about?
Mr. Rogers asks the trolley to take us to the land of make believe.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if the trolley is a conduit of the consciousness of ourselves and Mr. Rogers. Like,
I mean, the trolley is usually how he gets there. Yeah.
I mean, the trolley usually goes when the scene changes.
And there's no bed this time.
Oh, that's true.
He has dispensed with the bed.
Well, they're running low on time this episode.
That's true.
Because the whole cake baking.
It's a real packed episode.
It took a long time.
A lot of filler.
He just didn't have time.
I mean, I kind of laughed every time Chef Brockett shushed him.
It was good comedy.
It was kind of genuinely funny.
Yeah. So I think we've successfully made it to the land of make-believe.
Yeah, I think we're probably in the land of make-believe.
We've probably done a couple laps at this point.
Yeah. It's a short trip. And so, yeah, Lady Aberlin, in her role as...
Border guard.
Yeah, border guard.
She's still marching.
Licensed official. Well, she's not marching, She was marching.
She was
marching when Mr. Rogers was peeking in with his telescope.
Right.
But when we get there, she's over at the factory.
Oh, she's singing a song about what an ugly day it is.
Well, she does that later, too. First, she's talking to Cornflake especially, the weird...
Corny.
I want to say groundhog? Whatever Scooter the Gopher is supposed to be?
I was going to say whatever the generic mammals in DuckTales are supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
He's got like normal human ears, but like a dog nose.
I mean, his ears are a little...
He looks like a genetic experiment.
If you folded up your ears, as a bored child, or I might do, you get kind of a Cornflake especially ear situation.
Well, keep that in mind for the cosplay con.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was going to go over to the castle just to say hi, which, I mean, he's clearly he's a much friendlier person than I am. I'm probably below base level threshold for friendliness in the neighborhood of make-believe, but I don't think I'd go over to the castle just to say hi.
Uh-huh.
I barely go downstairs just to say hi.
Yeah, I mean, he made it sound like he was going to go over there and just say hi, and then, like, leave. It sounded like...
Yeah, he didn't really seem to have any pressing reason, which is why when pressed to give his name, rank, and serial number, of which he only knows his name, he decides that it's just not worth the bother, and he goes down into his factory on his elevator,
Right.
which he tells us he's going to use because otherwise it's just a puppet slowly. Corny just drops straight down, and then. Did you see it?
Yes, I did see it.
Oh, it's so good.
After Corny leaves, you can see this mysterious figure moving past the cracks in
Mr. Rogers-shaped figure.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you don't get a good look, but I don't know if he's wearing the same cardigan or they just shoot this. I wouldn't be surprised if they just shoot this whole show in sequence.
Yeah, probably. So then Lady
Aberlin sings her song.
About how it's an ugly day.
Yeah. It's a pretty good song.
Yeah, I thought it was a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lady Aberlin, she seems all right. Yeah, fair enough.
Chef Brockett shows up, and he immediately, before being asked, maybe he just does this with everyone he meets.
Yeah, we've established he's a interesting
gives his
dude.
Name, which I think is Richard something Brockett.
I didn't catch his first name.
And his rank is Master Chef. Master, I think, is pushing it based on the work I've seen.
True enough.
He
made it very quickly.
And his serial number is 1,234,567.
Right.
Which is
just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Right.
Now, what was Lady Aberlin's serial number? Was it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
You
got your notes. I didn't have it in my notes.
Hers was 3, 4, 5, 6,
7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So very sequential.
Very similar serial number.
Sequential serial numbers.
Yeah, which is remarkable because she just made hers up off the top of her head.
Mm-hmm. But we learn later that this serial number, or this is a complete lie.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
When Chef Brockett goes to take this cake to King Friday. He gives the same name, rank, and serial number, which King Friday thinks is suspicious because the serial number 1,234,567 already belongs to the MONTERAJA of GABULALULA.
Was it GABULALULA? For whatever reason, I had Swazulu written down.
Swazulu is the language
right.
The
Swazulu is the language
GABULALULA speaks.
Oh, okay.
And the reason he traded serial numbers with Chef Brockett is because that number is hard to say in Swazulu. Which
raises an interest. Apparently, I guess Chef Brockett is on friendly terms with the MONTERAJA of Gabulalula. Gabulalula. This is very culturally insensitive of me to stumble over this proud nation's name.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Also, this is sort of our first glimpse at a
global make-believe.
Yeah.
So Chef Brockett brings the cake to King Friday. And King Friday, his paranoia has pushed him to the point of being suspicious of cake now.
Yep. He describes it as camouflage.
Worried that it's a camouflaged message of change. And
that there might be a message of change snuck inside the cake that he's smuggling in.
And so he orders Lady Aberlin to cut it up as many times as possible to try and find the secret message.
Yeah. And then he wonders if maybe it's poison, so he smells it real good.
Yeah. Does King Friday have poison-smelling abilities, or
does King Friday not have a food taster?
Oh,
that seems within the realm of possibility.
I would have guessed that Edgar was the food taster.
Yeah, Edgar seems like Edgar does
He's
not.
He's the royal patsy.
Yeah, he really is. He really is Edgar has a tough go of it.
Uh-huh.
And even then, he's not sure he wants to eat the cake until King Friday says no, it's absolutely safe.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, everybody's kind of lost their appetite, and Chef Brockett is very, very sad.
So we still don't find out who or what Lady Elaine Fairchild's plans are regarding the changes. Although we don't really know that she's caused any more changes since the initial.
I don't know that she just did it once on a whim.
She rearranged the town, and now
she's done.
King Friday is like looking for camouflaged people and people. He's really sort of lost track of what the whole original change was.
there's been one attack on the kingdom, and he has used that basically to get himself full military powers and.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he already had full.
Yeah, I think he's suspended whatever kind of parliament they have.
You think they have that?
No, I don't think they do have a parliament. I think it's a direct autocracy. I don't think
so. We should probably get back to the real world. Is there anything else to talk about?
No, I don't think so. Nothing I've written down in my notes, anyways.
All right.
So let's get back on the trolley. It's a good thing they moved that cake. Chef Brockett set that cake down right on the top trolley tracks, and I'm like, that's true. That's a trolley accident waiting to happen. I wonder if that was a real cake or a prop cake. Or an imaginary cake.
Oh, we're going through a tunnel.
Maybe the cake looked better because he imagined it better. So are we back now?
Oh, yes, we are.
Oh no, Edgar, how'd you get on here?
I just snuck on the trolley. On the trolley.
Where'd Steven go?
I don't know. We went through a tunnel.
We did go through a tunnel. That's true.
A tunnel. What are you doing?
I'm riding the trolley, same as you. What are you doing? Aren't you enlisted?
I ran away because it was a sad state of affairs.
Well, I do not blame you, frankly. Where are you gonna? You got family on the other side?
I was wondering if I could join you on this podcast.
On
this podcast.
This podcast's almost over. Oh, I'm sorry.
Please, could you lift me up to the microphone?
Yeah, all right. Here we go. There you go.
Thank you. I'm very short.
You are. I mean, you're a reasonable height for a puppet. All right, Edgar. Let's talk about the last little section of the show.
Okay.
That
sounds
ton
like
happens.
a great idea.
King Friday, not King Friday. Although, have you noticed Mr. Rogers and King Friday have kind of a similar voice?
King Friday's voice is much scarier and imposing.
I mean, that's true.
It's so scary.
That's true.
So scary. So...
Scary?
Disheartening.
Oh, sort of a Porky Pig thing there. Yeah, so, Mr. Rogers talks about how things are going in the land of make-believe.
How does it appear on his end?
I mean, he's worried about it, certainly. So then he goes to the fridge because he realized that Chef Brockett left him a thing in his fridge. And it's a cup
Chef Brockett left me a thing.
Well, yeah, he left you that cake.
Yes, I touched it to my lips.
Well, that's a very upsetting way of describing it.
I did not eat it because I was worried of poison.
Well, I don't think it's poisoned.
But I put my hands in it.
Okay. You're freaking me out a little bit, Edgar.
Hey, what's this guy? Oh no, he found me.
Well,
get out of here.
You're in the podcast.
Do you mind if I drop kick this small man?
Well, I wouldn't drop kick him.
Okay, I'll just place him.
He's weird and kind of creepy, but he's...
I'll go back to where I came from.
Goodbye, Edgar.
What a weird little man.
He's upset. He says some weird things.
And I...
Not like frightening weird, but just sort of a little off.
I had to go to the bathroom in the trolley.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a bathroom in the trolley.
Yeah, there is. It's surprisingly spacious.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it would be.
Where'd you get to?
That's we were just talking about the cup of gelatin that Mr. Rogers
he calls it Jello at first, and then after that he realizes that maybe he shouldn't say Jello and refers to it as gelatin.
I wonder if that's what it is, yeah.
But he doesn't edit it out. He still says.
And then something very interesting happens. He writes a little note to Chef Brockett saying that gelatin is one of his favorite things to eat. And then he says that he'll drop it off
on his way back to work.
Which answers the question that has baffled mankind through the ages.
Can the frog tap dance?
Where does Mr. Rogers go when he leaves what is apparently his house? And the answer, I guess, is he goes to work.
Yeah, what do you think Mr. Rogers' job is? This is what I wanted
to talk about. What is Mr. Rogers' regular job?
I don't know.
I don't know either. He seems like an office worker kind of guy.
He gets a half hour off for lunch. And he goes home and he doesn't eat, or he just has a break in the early morning.
Yeah, maybe he can come as go as he pleases. So maybe he's making his own time. Maybe he's doing shift work. We don't see a bed where he sleeps, but I mean, there's a whole third wall we haven't seen. So,
but he could just sleep on the hideaway bed.
He could. That's true. He could just sleep on the hideaway bed. It's a real small house for the neighborhood he's in. He could probably get a lot more, for a pretty reasonable rate in such a underdeveloped neighborhood. Maybe he's not making a lot of money. Maybe because he takes half-hour breaks during the day to go home and imagine.
Yeah, to go home and transport himself. He could get a job in Land of Make-Believe.
Yeah, you'd think he could, but
I mean, he would probably be good espionage on the Royal Secret Service.
That's
of
true.
King
I
Friday.
don't think Mr. Rogers is cut out to work for King Friday.
Oh, you think that Mr. Rogers is anti-establishment?
I think Mr. Rogers is true neutral.
Yeah, that's probably
He's
right.
like the Watcher. He is forbidden from interfering.
Yeah, have we covered everything in this episode?
I think we've covered everything, and mostly, yeah, I did write down he's going to be late, because this is one of the episodes where we don't actually see him leave the house when he's done. He's still busy cleaning up the mess that Chef Brockett left in his kitchen, which was quite rude now that I think about it.
Yeah, Chef Brockett, I don't think I would enjoy his company.
I don't think it's worth all the free pastries, well, not even pastries, gelatin.
Yeah, I mean, he comes into your house, he makes a mess of the kitchen, and then he puts some liquid Jell-O in your fridge and lets it sit.
You don't need a chef to make gelatin.
No, but that's, I think, the extent of his abilities.
That's the extent of his abilities. Yeah, he's not a great chef. But again, cooks very fast.
So, thanks for listening, podcast neighbors. Next week, we'll be talking about episode 4. And maybe we'll finally see Lady Elaine Fairchild and what she's up to.
Only hope.
Or maybe they'll just push that off to the last episode of the week. Our theme song was provided by Dan Brisbane.
Yes, it was.
And our trolley transition tune was made by Rindale, which you can check out his stuff at soundcloud.com/Rindale Railway, which
That's
is
a good name for a thing.
RHYNDALE hyphen or dash. I don't know if there's a difference. Is there a difference?
Yeah.
This is the small one.
Yeah, it's the one you use for everything.
Railway.
Railway.
Anyways, we'll be back when the week is new. We'll have more ideas for you. Andrew, I know you'll have things you'll want to talk about.
I certainly hope I do.
All right, well, I will too.
All right.
So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please, won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please, won't you be my podcast?
My great-grandmother used to say, you should take an hour to drink one glass of milk. Well, we don't have an hour to drink it. Mr. Rogers is drinking it too fast. Oh, it's good.